So you make it sound wonderful, but is it all plain sailing?
Very good, very good. No, obviously not. It's a job like any others. Like any other, there are highs and lows. You tackle child-led problems, parent-led problems, unrealistic expectations. I've always found that sort of honesty and open communication is the best way to deal with those. But I think a lot of that is headed off by the sort of the recruitment process that our tutors go through. So again, there's sort of the interview phase and the application phase is really quite in-depth. And I think it's so important, now that I'm working on the other side, having been a tutor for so long, working on the other side, it's the importance of matching not just the academic needs, we need a maths teacher, or we need somebody who can get them up to scratch with whatever they're struggling with, but also the personality and lifestyle match. So you've got to make look at it as a whole picture, a big picture, and it's that sort of bespoke matching that I think we get right, and that's why we have a lot of success. But yeah, it's not always easy, but it's good fun as well. But you know, I see the tutor of family side. So what's the client-facing side? You see a lot more of that. You got a lot more experience of that.
Yeah, you know, it's a very interesting. I have to say, and I've been doing this for nearly a quarter of a century, and there is not a single client inquiry I get that isn't interesting, even now. And I don't just mean interesting in who the family might be, or what their ambitions might be, or what the problems are, or what the solutions might be. I mean, it is just a genuinely interesting thing to be involved in trying to unravel all of it. We've dealt with cases. There was a boy in Hong Kong who had selective mutism. So at school, he didn't talk at all, literally nothing. You get hit on the head playing football and his face would bleed, but he still wouldn't talk. At home though, completely natural and normal and talking. Now, that's actually a very serious issue, and 2 weeks of that is clinically significant, but this had been going on for 2 years when we got involved. And it took us 4 years with a tutor to unravel that. Kid is completely as if that didn't happen. He actually even can't remember that he had a problem, which is a good thing maybe. And we also work directly with the families, so we have to, as people are saying, he brings the parents in as a compulsory part of the program, and we don't do it as formally as that, sometimes we do, but very usually the children didn't get this way by themselves. So there has to be an element of us explaining to parents and to other caregivers what it is they have been doing that might have been causing these things and what they can do to change their behaviour.
You see, it's like similar when you're working in situ with the actual families themselves. You know, it's sort of the, it's already touched upon it, but the need for honest and open communication. You know, and making sure that the children and parents are fully aware of what's going on and what's happening, and you know how they can assist, help, be accountable, be responsible for the problematic situations. But you know, a lot of the time I think particularly like reluctant, apathetic students can really benefit from this. You know, you get a lot of refusers. You know, Pete mentioned them earlier, who just refuse to participate, and in fact they benefit hugely from a sort of a personally tailored response. You know, you can follow their lead to a certain example, to a certain extent. You know, you can find out what their interests are, their passions are, what is it that makes them tick, and you can run with it. You know, you can. I've got a classic example here. I had a 13-year-old student who basically is almost pathological fear of equations. You know, he'd been told from an early age he suffered from dyscalculia, and he'd been told from an early age he's silly, stupid, he didn't get it. And he literally shut down when faced with an equation or something like that. And so as a result, he did maths, hated science, just no. I actually managed, he loved the ocean, so great for me as a marine scientist. So I used that as an in, and I taught him to scuba dive. And when you learn to scuba dive, you have to do a lot of physics. There's the pressure, the density, the buoyancy, and the physics in action. You can actually experience it. You take a bottle down with you to 20 meters, and you can watch the changes in the pressure and the density. And he loved it. Absolutely, genuinely loved it, and as a result of which, at the end of my time with him, took a physics A-level. And this was a child who, point blank, refused and switched off if you put any sort of maths in front of him. So, You know, that's a definite win in his column. You know, it made a big difference to his life.